Hey everybody, back at you again with another card for the day. It's going to be CopperKid from the Silverhawks. Going to share this with the page real quick and over with the YouTube channel so we can knock that out. And we're going to get started. So, let's see here. There we go. Done and done. All right, cool. I'm going to cut this light back just a little bit. It's a little heavy. And I'm going to get started. So, hope everybody's having a great afternoon. I know I am. I'm glad to be back closer to regular time. Excuse me here while I adjust my headset so I can see and hear everybody. This guy is one of my favorite cartoon characters. I'm just going to start right in here. I love this tune, and I have it on a DVD collection. Just all about the Thundercats, Transformers, right up in there with that genre, and a lot of the cartoons from the 80s, and I watch these things all the time, have them playing in the background and stuff here in the office as I work away on the comic books. So have a blast doing that. And I'm going to color this guy out here this way. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into this because I don't want to get all the colors wonked up and whatnot and get them muddy, and that's a technical term, mind you. But that's pretty much where the blue goes for the CopperKid. He is an alien species in the series, and he's got a lot of blue going on, and then he's got a lot of white, a milky white kind of gray thing going on down here in his skin. And I really love the perspective on it because everything coming together, it's just really solid. You don't have to worry about it. Let's see here. I've got this going. I think I'm going to decide what I want to do first. I think I'm going to lay down the yellow for the copper first. And a lot of people are like, well, why would you do this? When I color copper effects, I love to use these pencils because of the fact that I get to bring all that out and, lay down a yellow base that's solid for the character. Because when you have copper reflect, it doesn't normally reflect or refract solid white. It's normally a yellow. Unless you have a white solid light shining on it, it tends not to do that. But just the reflection itself on the metal is normally a base color of yellow, and that's just where it's at. I really, really dig to make it pop out the way it's supposed to. Well, so many people give flack about the way certain people color and whatnot, or the way they draw and whatever. But for me, it's the way I perceive things, and that's why I like doing this series, because I get to show you guys, how I do it. So it's awesome. But and if you disagree, that's fine too. I'm peachy with that, and that's cool. Whatever. But for me personally, I'd rather have a yellow base going on than have to carve in all the oranges and browns and tans and whatnot, and not get that full color out of it. You know what I mean? There's a full range where a lot of people color in this particular character. Excuse me, this particular character, and they go in and say, okay, I've got to do this. Dark browns here, dark oranges here, and bright oranges here, and blah blah blah. And it's just, if that's your method, that's fine. But just keep it simple. I see so many people do that all the time. Art is relative. Art is relative. So, with us coloring this out, I'm going to start, like I said, with this bright yellow base coat. And I know it looks silly at the moment, but the thing is, whenever I start cutting in all the copper color, you'll be able to see all of that fun stuff come together. And before I finish that other shoulder, I'm going to go over here to this arm, because I know what I'm going to end up doing if I don't. I'm going to miss a chunk of it. So That's the reason why I'm just going this direction. But so I am really, really digging this one. This is one of my absolute favorite series. And if you were not an 80s kid, which every generation has their own thing, um, that's fine. You had the revamp of He-Man, the Thundercats, and a couple of other things going on here recently, and that's all fine and well. But personally, it took me a while to warm up to the original series for the Thundercats, and then I wasn't instantly just hooked on it. It took a couple episodes for me to really get into it, and then I was hooked by episode 3. I was hooked, and I got to see the pilot on replay. And man, when I saw that, I was on. I was definitely all in. I had a blast with it. So, but the Silverhawks, I got hooked into from episode 1 and just went on from there. No doubt about it. I'm a fan. So, hey Tamara, Javier, Demian, and everybody else coming on. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys decided to stop by. I know you're busy. But we're going to go in here with some Tangerine on the next phase. And I hooked it under this edge right here because I'm hard shadowing that turn in the metal and that edge. And then I'm going to kind of fill this in Venom style where I don't necessarily go all the way to the edge. And the reason for that is because I want that highlight in there to pop out. And like I said, a lot of people will freak out about that, and they'll be like, well, you're doing it wrong. Well, I might be for you. And that, like I said, that's cool. But this is how it's going to be done this particular time. So we got it going on there. It's starting to come together. I'm hoping that I get the same effect out of it that I got out of the Lino card last night. That card came out really, really well. It almost glows. And it was pointed out to me that it's almost like it's resonating energy itself. And I was like, okay, cool. That would be the way I colored it with the Copics. But, hopefully I'll have the same effect with this one. I would really like to see that happen. But we'll see. So, okay. Let's see. I appreciate it, man. Thanks. Javier, if you guys haven't checked out his stuff, man, he's going to be up on a future episode of the podcast, which is going up tonight with Brian Salinas here in a little bit for tonight's episode. And Javier's going to be on a couple of weeks down the line after I get rid of an updated podcast episode, and get that out of the way, off the table. I don't mean to get rid of it as in get rid of it, throw it away. No insult to Marcel or any of the other guys for that matter. What I'm saying is I have to get it out of the way and off the table. Got to be careful paraphrasing, get myself in trouble. Bunch of people like, get it out of the way. Hey, man. Bunch of artists get ticked off at me. I did your stupid show. Now you're going to say you're going to throw it out of the way. But, yeah, this is going to be pretty cool with this tangerine color. And now I'm going to get back to Javier. If you haven't checked out this guy's work, he's been a buddy of mine for a while, and I'll tell you what, he's an independent creator like I am, and he does a lot of freelance work, and he's out there making comics every day. So, he's trying to build up his own brand and get stuff going to where he can make, a good living at it, doing what he loves to do, which is awesome. It's awesome for any of us. And he's going to be hanging out with me on the show and giving his insights to some stuff and giving us a laugh or two. So He's good people. He's good people. But I know he's busy working on pages right now, and he's popping on to say hi to me because that's just our thing. You know, we support the industry and community over competition. As you guys know, my motto on that. And that's with marketing as well as comics, especially after, you know, some drama issues going on that I talked about yesterday. Not going there again. We squashed that, so we're good to go. But, yep, be kind, people. Be kind. Get your stuff going. And if you're into the internet marketing side of things, check out Tamara's work because she's got some stuff coming up too. She is a very bright young marketer and a very kind and awesome person, and you should check her stuff out. She might give you some tips and tricks that will make you famous. You never know. So think about that one. She and my buddy Jim are hiding out and like to do their Facebook Lives, and they got a bunch of stuff coming up, so watch out for it. I'm calling you out, girl. I'm calling you out. Get your broadcast going. She's going to be like, I'm not ready yet. So that'll be fun. But let's see. I think we've got this going, right? I think we've got this going here. Hey, David. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Let's see what we got. Hey, man, you bet. Javier, for the guys that on YouTube that can't see yet, Javier said thanks for the promo. Yeah, he's one of my good friends and one of my inner circle that I work with on a daily basis. We support each other and build the industry, and we introduce people to new friends and hang out and all that good stuff. And I'm telling you what, man, he's got some stuff going on that's really cool and a really neat guy to talk to. So I think it's very, very, very nice. Everybody needs friends. So no man is an island. And if you think you are, you will be stuck there by yourself with a crazy monkey hiding the last coconut. So don't do that. Yep. So I'm going to put this in here. Now this is really starting to come up with the copper feel like it's supposed to. And it's one of those things where I really love working with these pencils and these colors, these old school type of color patterns, because of the fact that a lot of, you know, the later Silver Age stuff did multiple tones in their work, and a lot of the UK and European styles definitely had toning to them, and they used so many different things. They used media of watercolor, they used pencils, they used pastels, they used crayons, which pastels and crayons are not the same thing. Whether you think they are or not, they are not. Okay, they are different. There is a difference. One is wax-based, and it's a hard wax that you can get so much coverage with, like a crayon, you know, that side of it. And then there's pastels, which is a totally different feel and texture in the way that you can present it. It's like a paint stick, more or less. It's a softer tone to it, and it will come off in a lot thicker, a thicker layer, and it'll cake on if you're not careful. So you have to be cautious with them and work that way. But yep, try different mediums and see what you come up with. Because right now in my comics, I'm doing 80s. I'm doing late Silver Age colored styles like this with the pencils, and then I'm going and I smooth them out with a coloring pencil, which I'm not doing for these cards, but I'm still doing the work nonetheless. And it has 2 or 3, 5, 6, 7 tones to it, and that's why it takes a while to kick those things out. But then I'm also doing a Silver Age style, a true Silver Age style, which is 1 to 2 colors, period. and letting the line work really pop out for this stuff, which is a different technique and a different style in itself. And I really love doing that. And I'm doing that a lot with the Night of the Living Dead book, because of the fact that this is something that I've recently fallen quite serious about, into admiring this style. And I've fallen into it head over heels with just really digging the result and digging the raw form of the art that comes out of it. And it's not oversaturated with digital colors. Now, I do digital coloring, so don't get me wrong, I'm not against that. I've mentioned that before. But in this particular case, with coloring this style, it brings a nostalgia back to the books that they just don't have anymore. And if you can't draw, it will show up real quick. So, you know, that is a true test of the artistic skill behind it, because if you can't draw and hold it up, it's not going to fly. It really won't. It will fall on its face. And I tried all kinds of different things with it. I've tried pastels, I've tried pencils, I've tried markers, I've tried watercolor, I've tried paints, I've tried digital style watercoloring, which is a total pain in the butt, but I love digital coloring as well as I do anything else. So it brings in a different perspective to it. So now you may notice that this is not symmetrical, and the reason for that is his disc is not perfectly round. It's more of an eye shape, an oval shape like his own eyes. It's not circular. Now a lot of people don't realize that, but the disc is not perfectly round. It's an oval shape. So think about that one. Really cool. And I've had people argue with me about that, and I'm just like, chill. It's not. It's just comics. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. So I'm going to move on to the secret right here. It's a Stadler Gold. Okay. Instead of using true brown on this one or using gray on this one and killing the tone, I am doing a finishing coat here, and there's already 3 colors on here, so it's kind of, you know, a little dense, but this is the way to do it. You got to work it in and blend it in very gently, and you'll start to see it darken up. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want it to have that darker copper feel to it, and it's got to have that brown tone to make that match up. Otherwise, you are wasting your time. And it's just washed out throughout, you know, just kind of overcoating and washing it out. It gives it that dull bronze look without washing out the brightness of the orange, which gives it that bright electric copper look, like he's been shiny at some point, which is awesome. And it breathes that true metallic wash to it, which you need for it to be copper. Now, before I go any further on the nose or anything like that, I'm going to get all this copper tinted down so that we can get that going and have that look. Now right here in the curves where you get a deeper shadow or something like that going on, just kind of layer it up, you know, bring it up a little bit, cut it in a little deeper, and layer it up, build that up, and leave the natural highlights as it curves out. So right here along the head, I would want that to be a little darker for that fin to come up. Shadow that one side like that, where it's going to get just a little bit darker before I go in with the black and shade that out, which a lot of people are going to cringe when I bring the black in. It's like, you're putting black on it. Yeah, I am going to put black on it. I'm just kind of coating this in. And you may or may not be able to see this on cam. I hope you can. I hope it does show up and make it have the tint that I want for you guys to be able to see. Have to go back over and do the back of the neck in just a second. But I'm adding this in because, like I said, it gives it that that copper finish, that bronze look. And a lot of this won't show up right off the bat, but it will when it's finished. And the black will bring that out because it'll balance it. And this will work as the mediator between that. So, okay. Yeah, that's coming off really quick. I'm going to change direction here a little bit for the tilt of the metal. The tilt in his chest, I want it to have a little bit of a different curve and texture. So, when I draw comics like this, I tend to lean for classic style characters because of the fact that they just have more of a great feel to me. They have a more character developed feel rather than worrying about, you know, the newer characters, which are fad characters in my opinion. And especially in their current incarnations, you know, like the Marvel stuff is just rehash after rehash after rehash, and it's strange. But I wish I resonated with it, but a lot of it I don't. I love the movie universe, as I've talked about many, many times, but I would love to see this become a film. This would be great. Mohammed, hey, you made it. Cool deal, man. I appreciate it. So I am knocking this bad boy out, moving and grooving here. Now, as we finish up this copper look, I'm going to get, like I said, into the black and bring that in and shade certain areas out to make it look even more so. But I have a trick that I have to do first. Once I get all this done, I have to go in with this chocolate brown. Make sure I got the right one here, because this is the accent point right here. You go in with this chocolate brown and just lay some down right there like that in the hard shadows, and just specifically in the shadows. And the reason I'm doing the hand first is because of the fact that it's just right there at the most prominent area of the focal point. And I'm just going to mix this in really quick in these dark areas. I know that's going to be harsh at first, but when I put in the black, it'll really make it pop. Right here along this collarbone, I know this is going to be weird putting it along this clavicle here, but that gives you the tilt in the middle, and it's a high point. So it's going to be a big one. I'm going to work down this hand here. Like I said, just giving it an undertone, a little shot right in the deepest parts of the plates so that shows up. Because it's that one color that everybody will ask about, and they'll be like, well, what is that? You know, what makes it do that right there? Well, that's the reason I put that in there. That's the reason I put that in there. And some people may think I mudded it up. Some people may think it looks cool. You know, that's relative. And I respect how you see it. That's your opinion. We're good nonetheless. I'm not going to block you or unfriend you because of it. I'm not going to come at you for it. You know, you said my work and looks like so-and-so, and you say it sucks, and da-da-da-da-da. No. That's your opinion. Okay, cool. I'm sorry it doesn't resonate with you. Wish it did. On to the next to find the one that you do like. Let's see here. We've about got this. We've about got it. It's starting to come to life. It is alive. So, and I know I said to leave this as a highlight, but the thing is, I'm putting in just enough smudge points on this to make it really, really pop out and have that copper look overall to bring it all together and give it a nice flow, and that's exactly what I'm after. That's exactly what I'm after. Okay. I'm going to be careful here because I don't want to overload this disc with making it too dark. A lot of people like to make this thing really dark and more of a separate piece than an accessory to a suit. But you got to remember, if you haven't seen the series, you got to check it out, because if you remember the series, you'll know. But if you haven't yet, I'll inform you. You have to be very careful with this one, because when you do the disc, it comes off of his hip. It's in a storage compartment on his hip. And if you don't add it to the same tone as the suit, it looks weird. So don't do that, okay? And because of his pink nose, I used to get flack when I was a kid because I liked CopperKid, and it was one of my favorite characters out of the Silverhawks. And, everybody was like, you got to go with Quicksilver, you got to go with Steel Wheel, or you got to go, blah, 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 blah. And Steelheart and Bluegrass and CopperKid were my favorite 3 characters out of the whole series, because of the fact that, this kid had so much to do with the team and never spoke a word. So, he spoke an alien language and never spoke a word. And he had to prove himself every single day because he was the outcast and the outsider. The character Monstar actually destroyed his planet, his homeworld, in the series. And he was one of the last survivors and refugees of the planet. So that was why he got to join the Silverhawks as part of the option. And his planet is the one that gave us the technology in that timeline, in that storyline. His planet is the one that gave us the technology to be able to have the Silverhawks in the first place. So be careful. Be careful what you say and do, because it can come back to bite you a little bit. I don't think I'm going to go black on his face. I think I'm going to have him do is go gray with it, and I'll pull a gray out here in just a second to go over that. But I'm just going to come in real soft with this black so I don't eat up a bunch of spots. And I'm just going to kind of give it this little bit of a line work. And it's going to be a streaked look. And the reason for the line streaks is because this is metal. You don't get pure color saturation with metals, especially if they're rough surfaces like this. You'll get scratch marks. You'll get different grady colorations. So, gradient colorations and different gritty looks. So I like to do this because of the fact that whenever you come out and have just these lines in there, it really gives it an edge that a lot of this stuff doesn't have. So I like to do just these touches, like right here, just a little bit of gradient, and then right along this edge, a couple of lines there to show that curve. And make it look washed inside that metal, like there's scratches or divots inside the armor. And then I go to these darker spots that are shadowed and make it more prominent. Okay, look in this chest here. Boom. I'll go down here, do the same thing. You have to be careful with this, not go too far, because you'll oversaturate it and then it'll make it look muddy or gray, and then you don't want to do that because then it won't look right. But I want it to look just a little bit weathered and like they've been in combat. So that's the reason I add in these little streaks here and there. And I like to do this one where I scribble these lines around, kind of like this. Just cut the line a little bit, just break it. And it's okay if you go over a little bit, because you can thicken out that line just a little bit more like that to add an edge to it, and like this. And it adds an instant divot to that part to make it look like segments. But I like to add in just little scratches and scribbles, because of the fact that whenever you come back to it and look at it later, it'll look like it's been dinged up and this is his weapon of choice. So I like to always put in random things like, little bubbles and squiggles and scratches and stuff like that, like it's been hit and like it's hit something. Because it shouldn't be perfect if it's a weapon. It should have nicks and crannies and all that good stuff on it to make it look that way. Now for this helmet, I'm going to be very gentle because it's one of those things, again, you don't want to overdo. But I like to put marks on this too because of the fact that, they're in combat. Like I said, they're going to get hit. They're not perfect. No one is. And when you're going to get, if you're going to get hit, you're going to get hit. And in my martial arts studies, over the years, I've figured out that, it's not one of those things. You have to have combat moves when you come into comics, law enforcement as well. And I tell you what, I didn't. It's been a long time since I had beat downs as a kid. Where two, three guys would get on me or whatever, stupid stuff. Schoolyard scraps. But I tell you what, I didn't go into a lot of confrontations because of the fact that I just didn't like to fight. Not that I couldn't, I just didn't like to. And so many people have that experience and they don't bring it into their artwork. If you've ever had that confrontation or an experience of a confrontation, you can bring that into your artwork and understand that, armor is going to get chinged up. Things are going to get out of hand. I had some stuff fall off the printer there. So sorry about that. I had to grab it. I did not want those proofs to hit the floor. That would suck. So, so I had to reach over and grab them. Man. And no, I won't be showing those. I won't be showing those off just yet. So I will not be showing those off just yet. And you got to be careful how you do the CopperKid's face with this gray because you want it to stay soft and you want to stay fluid with it, because if you go off and make it too hard on the edges or too dark, you'll tend to make him look like Pennywise or something really creepy, and that's not cool. So now I'm going to go back over this blue with a gray just a little bit to bring it together and soften it down to where the skin matches. Because if he's got this gray overtone in his white, in the white areas of his face, you got to bring in the gray just a little bit to tone it down. And beside the fact that the gray is normally a blue gray, and it has a really cool gray tint to it anyway, so I like to make that blend together right off the bat. He does kind of look like an alien version of Pennywise, kind of creepy. But I'm going to go in with this yellow again and lighten up his eyes, make it kind of look a little more organic, like he's got some color to it. And what did I do with it? There it is. I'm going to add a little bit of darker gray in certain areas to make it pop just a little. And then we're going to finish this up, and that'll be it. So let's see here. I like that. Cool deal. I'm going to put a little bit under his nose. Kind of add a little shadow there, a little depth there. And a little under the eye, but not to make black bags, because then it gets creepy. So, right up under this ear as well. All right. Now, I'm going to pick, I think I'm going to go with this purple here, just to contrast it quite a bit with the orange and the copper. Then we'll have this finished up. And people have been asking me to do some of the villains for the series, like I did with the Thundercat set. I think I can make that happen. If you guys were interested in seeing those, um, what do you think? Let me know. And if you want to see some of the, uh, some of the characters from the series as some of the villains, let me know. Let's see here. I think that's going to be cool. It's matching up with my paper. It's matching up with my blotter. So I'm trying to frame it out so I don't go too much. Let's see. Too overkill here. I don't want to cut into that too much. And put up that line right there. Put up a little bit of a hard line here. Edging this out so I can go a little quicker here. There we go. Boom. Done deal. Go this direction. Shake things up a little bit. Normally people wouldn't go different directions with it because it makes a different cross pattern. But in these cards, I really like it because of the fact that it has a little bit of a texture notice to it. So a little contrast. All right. With that one, we have CopperKid. I hope you guys dig that, and I hope it works out for you as one of the fan favorites here, because I know for me, it's one of my favorites. Just so you know, here's a couple of these things. I think that's all right. Here's a couple of Thundercats for you as well. I think tomorrow I'm going to be doing Panthro, so you guys can see that one and how it's going to turn out. And there's the Blob from earlier in the series. Here's one of my personal favorites, Dr. Doom. That one came out really slick. Man-at-Arms from He-Man. That one came off really quick too. So I think you guys got some stuff going on there. But anyway, for the evening, here we go with the CopperKid. Hope you guys dig it. And let me know what you want to see, because I am always looking for ideas. I get feedback from people all the time. And I'll try and work it into the list and start drawing some new, fresh stuff so we can keep this going. And I'll show you how I do it and some techniques and tips and tricks as we go along. So with that said, thank you very much for hanging out with me, and I will see you tomorrow. As always with this big rock, we inherited it in a certain position, time, and place. Do your best to leave it better for someone tomorrow. Talk to you later.